You must have gotten that email from the Nigerian prince, right? The one where he asks you for money.
No, the one he gives you money.
He gives you money?
Haan na.
He always asks me for money. I felt very bad for him.
So we are talking about scams today, and not just any scam, the scam that have happened here in India, which are fun, interesting, and non-governmental. So let's get into it. I think when you're talking about scams, we need to talk more about what is this shady business, because today I was preparing for this podcast, I was like, what is the difference between a scam and a fraud?
That's a good question.
है ना? As it turns out, scam is a subsection of a fraud. Because scam always involves money, it seems.
Oh.
Fraud can be for anything. Like you can defraud someone for, say, you can fraud them out of, say, information. You can defraud them out of, hurt their self-esteem? No, wait, that was what I'm looking for.
Dignity?
I mean, that happens to me every day. Can't there be? They can hurt your reputation. God damn it.
Reputation.
This is what happens when you don't have any. You can't find the word.
This is so sad.
What is? I know, it's these scams, man. Awful. So yeah.
But I did not know that the scam is only related to finance. That's quite an interesting thing.
Exactly.
Actually.
So when it comes to scams, the financial part is what really turns it into a scam.
Got it.
And my God, dude, there are just so many scams. It's like psychological piracy in a way,
Yeah, you're right. That is one repeated thing that even I was seeing in like all the stuff that I was looking at. That it's literally an attack on your brain. Like
yeah, it's like I feel this is what Nolan should have done. Like Inception is actually nothing but scamming.
Yeah.
They are made scamming look cool and like they're entering your brain, but essentially they are scamming you.
That's true. Very true.
Yeah, and since they're doing it for financial benefit, it is a scam.
Mm-hmm. That's very true.
So is Inception a scam film? You heard it here first at Padakup and yeah, because what happens is that invariably you still have to do the same things as you do, like say for a pirate raid or a burglary, right?
Yeah.
Right, you have to get a crew together.
Correct.
You have to find a mark. You have to ensure like they fall for your scam.
So is a scam also a subset of a heist?
It's a psychological heist, I think.
So it's like a type of heist.
No, I mean, we are saying that. I don't know anybody else.
I'm not saying like scientifically. I'm saying like, thought process wise.
Yeah, pretty much. I think it's definitely a heist. So here's the thing. So we have prepared a list of lovely scams for you guys that I thought was super fun. I differentiate. Like the scams I appreciate the least. Appreciate it seems because I'm such a connoisseur. So anyway, the least is the kind of like government scams, right? Because to be honest, there's nothing smart about it. There's a group of people got bribed and hid information.
Right.
Whether it is weapons deal, they took some money on the side.
There's that Wofers one, no?
Lots of them do. All over the world. Like, I feel anywhere there's government and money involved, people
there's
are like,
some weapons
side
also,
military.
yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah. But here's the scam. So here's the story, okay? This happened in Pune city, okay? It's there in the news. Our own city. So here's what happened, okay? So if you go down, many times when you're traveling, right, you'll see like a van stopped and they'll be selling fruits. Just randomly on the road, you'll see somebody selling fruits. I'll be like, okay, for very cheap, they're selling wholesale, like grapes or mangoes or random fruits and vegetables. You must have seen that, right?
Yeah.
So apparently, there's one van parks in one locality of Pune and they are selling dry fruits.
Okay.
And this guy is going there, they're selling dry fruit and there's a huge crowd around the dry fruit stall. Basically, they're selling dry fruits for very cheap. So there's like a huge crowd. People are just like,
dry fruits are kind of expensive, so I understand why.
Yeah, so they're selling dry fruits for cheap. So people are just like, there's a huge crowd and they're like, wow, cashews and nuts were so cheap. It's intense. And just like people are hitting that shop. Even this guy, itna sasta, main bhi jata hu. So they're all buying the dry fruits. He reaches the main guy. The main guy, listen, we don't take cash. We have a card machine. Because it's very hard to,
keep track.
Because there's so many. He's like, fair enough. I'll use my card. Use this card. 2 weeks later, gets a 50,000 rupee bit on the card, and so do all the people in that area. It's just like, and from where in UP, like from like a whole different state. So basically, there was a card duplicating machine. intense, right? So basically they duplicate.
And how will you come to know? You're like, हाँ मेरे को dry fruits मिल रहे 30 rupees में.
Exactly. So here's what the machine is doing. It was duplicating the cards, and as you're typing the number, it's saving the number with the detail.
I'm really afraid now because you said we are starting at the small one.
Yeah, small only, you know. They actually, so they took 50,000 from like 50, 20, 30,000 from like a lot of people. So they only added up to like 6-7 lakhs.
That's all.
That's all. Yeah, I mean, scams are bigger, man. Wait for
That's
it.
true.
So, what do you call? So yeah, man. So this is what happens. So
That's
they duplicate
really
the cards.
wild.
And
Also, I would have definitely fallen for that shit.
Everybody would have. I was like, and because they were like dry fruits, like they see, dude. This is why it's a psychological hack, right? Indians, great deal, dry fruits. Like it is a mousetrap. Who would have thought? I feel everybody in the studio would have been like, wow, they're selling dry fruits for cheap.
We'd have told each other.
Yeah.
Dude, यहाँ पे आ जा. यहाँ पे dry fruits मिल रहे हैं for cheap.
The card machine that copies is fine. Because now you have a card machine that copies. But how do you get people to put the details themselves?
Yeah.
I love the fact that they could get, the discount option. Like it had all the pieces.
They
that
knew what to do. Exactly what's going to get people to use this machine. Like how to get the horse to the water was the smart part.
Horse to the water is like literally fishing. Or like fishing as they say. I don't know why the internet word is PHISH.
PHISH is a cyber scam. So that's basically like when people send you phishing links and all, where you click on the link and then they ask you to put in your details and so that is phishing.
But this is real life.
Yeah, this is FISHING.
Literal fishing. Fished you out of water. Wow. But I don't know, man. I thought it was genius. I had a great laugh.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I mean,
I would have fallen for that. There's just no way. Like
hook, line and sinker. There is no way I would have survived that. My card would have been duplicated. They would have got all of my 3 rupees. It would have been great.
Yeah, you know what, man? See, this is why you should be broke. You become it's like the only thing keeping you safe from scams. पैसा ही नहीं है तो चोरी क्या करेगा?
And you would only be like, take my wallet. It's fine. It's cool. What you're going to get from it?
Yeah, exactly. Safe. See, that's how you keep safe. Don't have it only. Best. Or be an artist. Same thing. Anyway, next. Okay. So do you have anything to share with us? Do you have something fun and interesting?
Yeah, I think it also feels like a small scam. So it fits into our escalation, but I think it was a very interesting one because it involved a lot of psychology, and I feel like that's why it's even on my list that this is a scam.
I think this is one thing common with most scams is the amount of manipulation required.
Yeah,
like the whole game is they are manipulating you and your psyche.
It's very intense. So I was actually blown away by this because it's something that you would always see but you never question. So of course everyone's heard of this website called Quora, right, where you can ask questions and you can get answers or whatever. So someone had put up some question about so I'm just telling you the history of how this scam came up. Someone had put up a question about James Bond. Correct. Something about him, why does he say this line or something like that. So someone had responded and it was a very detailed response ki ye sab hua. And in that he had thrown in some information about himself that when I was at IIT Kharagpur this thing happened and that's how we thought of this thing. So that response was so good that he got 39,500 followers on Quora.
Got it.
So naturally, if you follow someone, there's a good chance you look that person up on different social media. I want to know more about this person. Seems to be a smart guy and things like that. So they started adding him on social media, Facebook, वगैरह. So then they saw कि he's a very well-known dude. वो काफ़ी research कर रहा है. He's gone to IIT Kharagpur. He's gone to IIT Madras, and he's doing research with Massachusetts Institute of Technology. ये सब है उसके Facebook पे. And then it came out that he is lying. He made this personality, and the reason it's a scam is because he used to reach out to first and second year IIT Kharagpur kids, asking them for money. And he had built this image up of being a role model to these children.
Wow.
So
So you would ask them for money under what pretext?
like, you know, my mother's funeral is there, you know, like
Oh.
typical, like how anyone would ask anyone for money, like, you know, become a bichara and, you know, like.
Oh shit, I'm in trouble now.
And they used to take it seriously because they used to be like, my role model is in distress. I can
Wow.
help this person out. So
How
मैं
many?
15K देगा, मैं ये देगा, ऐसे
Wow.
करके he duped a lot of people into giving him money. And
Wow, this is
it's
intense.
it's like psychological warfare. I was like,
Bro, this is.
blown
I feel.
away.
Wait. In this particular scam, I don't even think it was the money. Like, see, who do you? If you're gonna scam someone,
Yeah.
you generally choose soft targets, right?
Right.
This seemed like a agenda. Like, look at them. See, people. You can, with a fraction of the effort this guy put in, he could have pulled off a much larger scam.
Yeah, and
But, like, this is not a. See, this feels more like trying to prove something.
yeah, and I think it started off like that. I think it started off with, oh, you know, I'm getting so much attention because I said I'm from IIT Kharagpur. So I will make a personality for myself. And he started putting up fake shit online, okay? Like, MIT का एक email आया है, ऐसे करके he used to make that on Photoshop or something and he used to put it up. And let me tell you one thing. Nobody is going to put up these confidential emails on the internet, okay? Nobody does that. So people used to fall for it hook, line, and sinker because they were like, this dude is really cool. All India rank 1 in some random thing that doesn't exist.
Hey, but it's good enough. See, the point is, you're not going to see. This is exactly how the WhatsApp university works, right? Once you
You're
have
not
built-
going to verify it.
once it's coming from what you think is a credible person, everything that person says has now become a credible source.
Exactly. And also, how it came out was that some alumnus of IIT Kharagpur was only like, I don't think this dude is legit. Like, I don't think he was in any batch.
Correct.
And he apparently, you know, he went to IIT Kharagpur's campus. He told all the professors that he's an alumnus and he wants their help in some research or something. So
Okay.
it was like very deep rooted. And
What?
And
He
finally,
he was able to enter the campus and get to the professor.
yes, and they did not question because professor like hoga. मतलब मैं क्यों? Why should I cross check this thing? Right? I was someone waste so much time doing this if he
Correct.
was not an alumnus. And then at some point he mentioned कि in master's thesis he had worked under PK Das or something, and PK Das like, I never heard of this man.
Wow.
And that's how it came out. Like, you know.
Hey
and-
man, this might be. So wait a minute. So this is much deeper. It's not. See, scam is when it's only financially motivated, right? This is something in much deeper. It's like you're reliving. You're trying to live the IIT fantasy.
It's like the life you want to live. I feel like also since this guy got famous really quickly,
Correct.
he started believing he is this man.
Oh.
Like that's what I think personally. I think he started like he convinced himself कि मैं हूँ ये.
Yeah, because he's not trying to hide his face and all of that.
Yeah,
Because
it's all on Facebook. It's all on now.
Easy to
His
get caught.
Facebook is deleted. Everything is gone because like then someone came up and police obviously was involved and then he was like, I never said these things, and he had deleted everything. I never said I'm from
Wow.
IIT Kharagpur.
Wow, genius.
Like IIT Kharagpur had to put out a thing.
Saying
this
he
man
is
is
not-
not from here.
Wow, it got that big.
It got really big. Also, can you imagine he was attacking? I mean, he was taking money from like little kids, essentially 18, 19-year-olds who are like, wow, this is the man I want to be.
Yeah, the guy from MIT who's just like killing it.
Yeah, and he's done
Wow.
research in 3 IITs now.
Wow. This is great, man. I'm very impressed.
I-
this is a great story. I like how your deep dive starts with a Quora inquiry. It just drills down and down and down, and before you know it, it's turned into like this massive.
I sincerely love Quora because of this. I'm like, you can find out so many things that you would not know about. And
Wow.
I was like, obviously,
It's
this is not listed as a scam anywhere. This
Correct,
is like
yeah.
someone is like, is Niladri, that's his name, that's the name he was going by, is Niladri Sarkar really from IIT? And I was
Wow.
like, who is this man? I have to know. My curiosity
Damn.
is piqued.
Damn, it's a movie plot. It's a movie plot.
I'm sure it'll get made. Like,
One wrong turn in the corner of the internet, and before you know, you're like in middle of like a different film, man.
yeah, and there were girls who had fallen for him because of
What?
this, like because of his. Matlab, it was quite a lot was going on. I'm surprised. I mean, I'll be surprised if Crime Patrol or someone hasn't done anything about it.
It's just, see, for Crime Patrol, it has to be more murdery.
No, Hari, it's very dramatic now, but it's very dramatic. So
No,
Crime
not,
Patrol
see,
is...
thing is, it needs a certain amount of like psychological depth, subtlety.
For sure, a film would do more justice to it. For
No,
sure.
I think Crime Patrol needs it to be like little murder, dumb people. How they'll be like, and plus India में nobody likes to hear anything bad about IIT, which is the reason why it was suppressed.
That's true. That's
कैसे
probably
बोलेंगे,
true. Because how will
the
you
smartest brains of the country fell for this guy.
couldn't even see through this lie? And you know, you should see his Facebook post. Like, I feel like ठीक है, I have more information because I know they are fake.
Correct.
But you should see his Facebook posts that are on the internet. We'll put up a few here. It's so, like, he's put a picture of himself against a blackboard and he's like, just finished this, I came
Wow.
first, वगैरह. And which adult puts up statuses
So I
like
think
this?
You never know these days. These new generation of parents entering Facebook are pretty teenagery.
Oh, that's fair. That's
Anyway, so with this guy, right, I was just thinking, like I just said, so just because smart people are good at, say, engineering or innovation or designing, right, that doesn't really translate into being able to decipher intentions of other people.
That's true.
So on the other hand, it's possible, like, say, for example, say a media college, or people are more perceptive to how other human or people react, would not have fallen for the same scam. Like engineering students would have been easier to fool.
He knew
because-
his audience.
Yeah. Also, I feel, I don't know, it's as much as knowing the audience. It's just that I was just saying that, okay, the smartest minds fell for it, but I feel that they will fall for it because it's like you're not trained for it.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know,
This
your
was not
brain-
expected out of you.
Yeah, you're not expected to decipher people and see that.
Or check out their Facebook posts and see if
Yeah.
they're lying.
This is why you need to do media studies. It has value, okay?
Or just talk to people.
Yeah.
Just talk.
Anyway, moving on.
Yes.
So the next scam on the list is, which I found quite interesting, is, have you heard of the emu scam?
Oh my god, I am very intrigued. What is the emu scam?
So you know what an emu is? The emu is like this flightless bird from Australia. Right? It's this big bird. It's like an ostrich. And so what happened is, back in the day, I think around the 90s. So if you're in the 90s, if you were at any, say, dhaba or just say on the highway, you must have seen an emu. Like there was a time when there were emus everywhere. Like in a dhaba, you would go, like here only we had one called Tony the Dhaba.
Oh my god. Is this related to that? Because I thought okay, 1 second. I thought that it was normal for emus to be outside dhabas. Is it not? I mean, in the recent past, I just figured that there are no emus outside dhabas because of PETA or something.
But do you remember, right, the time?
I do remember.
There were emus everywhere. They were like, and especially in dhaba, and they would serve emu tikka and stuff, dude.
Oh, you're right.
Emu, like there was emu.
I've never eaten it, but I've seen it on the menu.
Yeah, there'd always be on the exotic part of the menu. There would be emu, right?
Yeah.
So it's quite crazy, man. So basically, the scam goes like that. So there's a Indian businessman, whatever. He's in Australia and he looks at emus and goes like, "Wow, this seems like fun." So here's what they did. So they came to India and they're like, "Hey, man, emus are the next big thing. Everybody's gonna eat them. Everybody's gonna love it, and it's just gonna make you tons of money." And then the farmers and all these guys were like, "What are you saying? See, you grow an emu, and for every emu egg, we will pay you like a lot of money, like 5-10K. So basically, your emu pays for itself. On top of that, you can use it for meat and other things." And people are like, "Wow." But the point is, there was really no demand for emu eggs. They created that demand.
Or like they made it a market. Like
Correct. So
just
they were
by doing this.
they only were buying the eggs back. So they were like, so for example, go and say, "Hey man, if you buy one emu for 1 lakh, in 10 eggs, your emu is got back." I was like, "Oh, I will buy 10 emus." Because even if you say in a year or two, if the emu is going to pay for itself, so to speak, and you can't get eggs with one emu, you have to buy 2 at least. So what do you call it? So the scam was that they went and sold emus to everybody. and everybody bought, especially in Maharashtra. So that's why the emus all over India were brought here as part of, say, livestock. They were like, hey, this is going to be better than chicken. It wasn't. And
This is blowing my mind right now because I
that's the reason there was during the 90s there was this what's the damn word? There were tons of emus. Proliferate? Yeah, that's the word. So like they were like
variation of emus.
correct. There were like tons of these emus everywhere because people were like, hey, we're gonna make so much money. And then one fine day they stopped buying the eggs and the whole market collapsed on its head. And then people were like, hey, there are way too many emus.
What happened? The dude retired? That's what happened?
He just left.
Wow.
He just packed up and left.
And then what did they do with the emus?
They just left them. So now we have a feral emu population.
What are you saying we do?
That like so at some parts of India they just left them. The dogs ate them, other people ate them. Some places they survived, Nature finds a way. Jurassic Park, but with emus, I guess. Check some other details out. So, oh yeah, emu farm. Oh, they went to jail and all shit.
Oh, so they got caught and went to jail.
Yeah.
Was the Australian dude or was it an Indian in Australia?
Oh, dude, and the thing is, it was widespread in Tamil Nadu. Like Tamil Nadu was worst hit by the emus.
But were people in Tamil Nadu eating emu meat?
No. Oh, by the way, they got. Oh, wait.
Logic is
By the
crashing
way,
in my
they went to
brain.
jail 2 days ago. It is still evolving. The scam is still evolving. My God, 2 days ago, dude.
When did this start? Because I was a child then.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the
And
point.
now I'm an old woman.
Wow. Now, dude, they got convicted now and fined 56 lakhs. Now,
Hey,
after
56 lakhs is nothing.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah, wow. By the way, it's a multi-crore scam, and like the news has been coming. Oh, here's the thing: thousands of emus to be culled because few takers for meat because just the whole thing collapsed in the early 2010s.
I am still trying to process that this man looked at an emu and was like, you will be my next star.
Hana, dude, but you know what, man? It takes some kind of vision. So here's the thing: was it that he looked at the emu and said, "This will be a great idea," and then he made this whole thing and got emus here, and the emus are not getting sold. Nobody likes the meat, and he's like, "Shit, what to do?" You know what?
Yeah,
Maybe-
did he actually mean it when he thought that he was starting an industry? Or
I have no idea.
did he actually plan it as a scam? It's very interesting actually to think about.
Yeah, and why an emu, man? What the fuck? It's a weird ass bird. We put a photo up here. As a kid, also be like, you don't belong here. It's like, why would like?
Please, emus belonged outside Damas.
I think now,
Don't fight me on this.
now if I go to Australia and see an emu, I'm like, what are you doing here?
Where's the dhaba?
Yeah, well,
It should be close by.
Suddenly I look at the emu and be like, यार butter chicken खाने का मन कर रहा है. And it's weird, but emus come up pretty often in this podcast. So if you're not aware, we covered emus in a previous podcast where emus defeated the Australian army in a real war. It's called the Emu War. So
True
apparently,
emu fans over here at Parakupenda.
yeah,
We love
emus.
emus.
More than that, I think emus is up to some shit. They're some shady ass birds. Okay.
The underlying theme of our entire podcast is that emus are up to something.
Shady ass emu. So that was my fun scam.
That's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, cool.
So where we at with the scam limit so far?
I don't know. Just escalate. Just
Escalate now. It doesn't matter. Now it's over.
We are playing the scam poker. Wow. That's
So
a good-
actually, scam poker. That's cool. I like that.
we should play scam poker, where all the money is fake and you have multiple cards hidden everywhere. So it's wow.
Wow.
That'd be intense. Who can scam the other person most? Sorry. What do you have? What do you have for us?
So, I'm sure that most people would have heard of how call center scams are a thing, right? So, just in case you don't know, living under a rock,
Or I've been lucky not to have been getting these scam calls.
yeah, there are a lot of call centers that are set up in North India, kind of, in a lot of places in North India, where people are hired just to call people to scam them out of their money, right? And these people actually mostly call the US, that they are the primary victims of
Correct.
this entire thing. So again, because I went on an extreme Quora dive for the research of this topic, I found this one long article by this guy who was one of the scamsters.
Okay.
So he was talking about that whole process and how they got hired for it and how, you know, how he was involved.
So it was like actually it was like just like any other company, like a call center.
Yeah. So he was taken, like he went from his gaon to Delhi because he was told ki one of his friends was like, यहाँ पे job है, I am doing a very good job and whatever. Typical how a multi-level marketing thing works.
Correct.
His friend kind of recruited him for this thing. And then when he went there, he was put through orientations and all that, where they explained to people what they are doing. And then he was like, I don't want to do this. I know that everyone has to earn a living and all that, but this is not my cup of tea.
हाँ, मैं scam नहीं करेगा.
So then there were two versions of this. One dude who went home after that, and his friend was crying and all, dude, you know, you don't get it right now, but you will get it, you know, काफी पैसा मिलेगा वगैरह. And he was like, I don't want to do this, and he went back home.
Correct.
But there's another dude who decided to go for it.
Correct.
And this dude did not realize that it's a scam.
Oh, he thought this is the job.
So the orientation made it feel like a legit job. Like it was never spelled out to anyone कि ये scam है. Like we are scamming people of their money. So you know how people are given a script and all for calling people. So they were just like, you have to follow the script. You have to call these people. You have to sell a product. That is what they were told. But they were never told that there is no actual product.
That the whole thing is fake.
Yeah. So the scam was working on 2-3 levels. The main executive people were scamming these people into scamming other people. Scamception max. Like,
wow. Wait, let me get this right. So the guys on top
yes.
are hiring people.
Yes.
And then, so here's ladies and gentlemen, now we'll hear the difference between a fraud and a scam. So the higher management is defrauding its employees into scamming.
Correct. So it's not really scamception. It's like fraud and then next level is scam.
So because the fraud is because they are misleading these people.
Correct.
But they're not taking their money. They're paying them money.
Correct. They're paying them like they're doing a regular job.
Correct. So now if you ever wanted to know the difference between fraud and a scam, now you know. So the main higher management defrauded the employees into scamming innocent people.
Correct. And these people did not. So this one dude whose stuff I was reading, he said ki 1 week tak it went on, and they were getting like typical how salespeople get money, na? Depending on the number of products they sell, they will get commission, right? So at the end of that week, I think it dawned on him what is going on.
Oh shit.
And he basically went and talked to his manager. I think, I'll tell you how it dawned on him. It's very emotional and very sad. So he called some lady in the US and told her ki, you know, the US revenue system वगैरह.
Wait, so basically, what is the scam? They call and say that
so
you have not
this
paid
is
the tax.
This is the tax collection scam. I'm sure many people would have heard of it. It's where people call you and tell you that your name is a defrauder on our tax payment.
I know this one. Basically,
defaulter, not defrauder. Yeah.
Because basically they call and say, hey, you have not paid your tax.
Yeah, and your name is on this defaulters list, so you have to pay a certain amount. And he thought he was doing the Lord's work. You know, he was like, government ko dena chahiye paisa.
He thought he's working for the US government.
Yeah, or you know, US has hired or outsourced this work to us, and that happens so often that even the simplest person in India knows that this happens. Like it's not something that is hidden from anyone. So he called her and he told her ki your name is on the defaulters list and I have your number here, so I've been asked to tell you ki you need to pay up. And that lady broke the fuck down. She was like, mere se nahi hoga ye. I have no money. Recently I have like separated from my husband. I have a small child. I have literally nothing to pay this, and I have no idea ki ye kaise hua or whatever. Still I'll try something. Matlab, I don't know how I'm going to do this. You have to give me more time. And then he like literally like took off his headphones, kept them away, and he was like, nahi kar sakta main ye. It is, I know I have also not had money, and this seems awful, to
Correct.
do to anyone. And by this time, he had understood that it's a fraud, but he was like, it's a scam. But he was like, chal theek hai, I'll keep, it's a job.
Correct. I'll go
Right.
along with it.
But at this point, he drew the line and he was like, he spoke to his manager and all, ki, I can't do it. And his manager gave him a pep talk, ki, dude, imagine how much money we can get this way and this and that. And your commissions will also increase.
Okay.
He continued that job for a while. And then he, at one point, was like, bas, enough, I'll leave. But then he won't get a job anywhere else. He literally left that call center to join another scam call center. And he's stuck in that loop of just that job.
Wow.
Because that's what he has on his resume, essentially.
Huh. Interesting. That's a deep story, man. That
It's-
you've been
and-
stuck in a. It's like being. Wow. It's like the IT underworld. Like this, and you get stuck in the underworld and you can't leave it. It's like the call center underbelly.
It's literally a black hole that he got stuck in now. And he's like, I'm still doing this. Like, this is my living now. Like, this is how I'm getting money.
So the thing is, like for example, so there was a call center that got raided in Bombay.
Oh, cool.
It had some 1,000 odd employees. It had a whole building and office.
It is set up like a multinational company. That is
So-
how it is set up.
So the guy that the main guy with his millions fucked off to some Eastern European country, and all the employees, dude, the people who just graduated and joined, they had no idea it was a scam.
Damn.
They-
And they were selling a product.
No, same revenue
same
service.
revenue source.
They're talking about the revenue service. So basically, by the way, this doesn't work one way. So these guys have a contact in the US who actually has access to the records.
So they know who's poor, like who will fall for this or whatever.
Correct.
Like,
So actually, to be honest, they do have. So here's the thing: they do have access to the. They know there are a lot of people who don't have any defaults, but there's some people who are actually defaulters also.
so they will immediately believe it. Ki,
Correct.
makes sense.
Like for example, the highest amount one of these scamsters got was $136,000 from one person.
That's a lot.
Yeah, 136. Kitna hua? That's 1,70,000.
Into 75.
Yeah, some shit, almost a CR. Wow, almost a crore. But
Yeah.
but that's the point, right? They're trying to, what they're trying to do is figure out. So they need a contact in the US. It's not like a only India thing. They have people there and here, and it's like a big network.
So it
but-
is kind of outsourced work, but different.
Yeah, so it's an outsourced scam, I guess. Yeah, it is what it is. Like shit, we need to scam people, outsource it. Wow, it's genius actually. So because
Because it literally runs like a legit company. Like if someone came and started in a building next to you, you would think it is an IT office or something. You wouldn't
Correct.
even question it.
exactly. So now there are like multiple. So there are like hundreds of variations on this particular scam. People, I don't know if you've gotten these calls, but invariably you'll get calls saying your insurance is pending, you need to pay immediately, this thing is pending, you need to pay immediately. So generally what happens is somebody in some of the organization where you have had like some dealings will leak that data to somebody, right? With me it happened with our software that we use in our studio.
Oh.
Yeah, so basically we use Adobe software and we pay a subscription. So what happened is lately the Adobe India guy sent me a message saying, hey man, we saw that you're a production company. Are you using Adobe software? I said, yeah, I'm using. Here are my licenses. And I sent it. He's like, cool. Nothing. Weirdly enough, literally 2 days later, I had a call from some guy claiming to be from Autodesk saying, no, you're using Maya in your studio. I said, I'm not using Maya because I don't know how to use Maya, most importantly. And secondly, we make films, so we don't do 3D animation. No, somebody in your studio has used. And if you don't do, we are going to do a police case. They're going to come, they're going to raid, they're going to take all your money. All of that jazz happened. And I was like, I'm like,
I'm too exhausted for this.
yeah,
right
dude. Like we work in film production, man. You need to we are not gonna get terrified so easily. And I was like, your production value of like this scam is so low. So I said, no, man, that's not happening. So I said, okay, cool. So I was like, what do you want me to do? He said, I want you to pay. I said, but I don't have it. He said, no, but you have to pay. I said, but I won't pay. Then you're gonna get. Suddenly became
they get angry.
super aggressive.
Very believable. Wow, very
Wow,
nice.
they went super aggressive. The moment they go super aggressive, by the way, if they go super aggressive on the call, that's when scam. Because dude, imagine, okay, if you're a normal employee and your job is to tell people, hey bro, pay up. why will you get angry? You're gonna be like, hey
It's
man, if you
your-
don't, you're gonna be in trouble, and that's it. Your call will end. No call center employee is gonna be like flipping out. Like, yeah,
I own Autodesk, motherfucker. I am suffering losses because you.
I'm like, I was like, you know what, man, do whatever. Aa jao. I was like, come. You know my address. You know everything. Raid whatever you want to do. He's like, no, you will suffer the consequences. I was like, aa jao. And then,
I feel very amazed when people try to scare like filmmakers and artists and stuff like that. These people have gone through a lot. You cannot scare them so easily.
yeah.
You cannot.
But I think the scam that has affected at least, I can say, many Indians would be multi-level marketing scams.
Yeah.
That has almost affected every family at some. So multi-level marketing itself is not very shady, but it can easily be turned into a Ponzi scheme. So most of the time, Ponzi schemes are very prevalent in India. So Ponzi scheme essentially is that you keep it started because a guy called Ponzi started. Imagine such a scam that name after you, bro. Well, good for you.
He is the scam god.
Scam god. So basically, it is that only. So it's an unsustainable thing. Like they'll be like, hey man, you buy something, and then you have to sell it to another 2 people. And those 2 people sell to another 4 people. And those 4 will sell to 8. And so they're like, wow, it grows exponentially. And every time somebody is selling something, you get money. So that's why that's why they say ki you will make tons of money.
Got it.
Because you just have to sell it to 4 or 5 people, and those 4 or 5 people have to dedicate it to sell it forward.
But to sell to 4 or 5 people, you have to buy 4 or 5 of that product.
You buy and they buy from you, so to speak.
Okay, got it.
So invariably, first and foremost thing about generally these schemes is they tend to be the product has no value or has very increased value.
Right.
And India ka sabse famous wala was, I don't know if you heard about QNet. Have you heard about it?
Oh my god, I have seen videos of QNet. But I did not know this was a Ponzi scheme.
QNet is a
My
massive Ponzi scheme. Like it's so huge, it got banned in so many countries. So they started with gold coins. So it was called Gold Quest. Then it became QNet.
Wait, so they were just selling gold coins?
So they'll take a tiny coin and then they would stamp it with some shape and be like, wow, now this is like a rare
it's got value now.
extra value now. And I was like, that's not how this system works.
But why did people buy this?
Because the point was nobody's thinking about the gold coin. Because see, the Ponzi scheme is never about the product itself. It's about how pushing it forward, you will become rich. Right? And they run it like a religious cult, you know. They'll have lots of events, people will be there, they'll be like, hey man, the other people who don't believe you, they're non-believers, they're losers, that's why they're going to be poor all their life and you're going to be super rich.
You are the one who made this good decision.
Correct.
Damn.
Like because you are the person who's going to change your life.
Again, it's so psychological though.
Hardcore.
It is so hardcore psychology because now it's like FOMO, you know?
Correct.
Like, fuck, if I
you
don't
do it, I want other people around will get rich, I won't. But here's the thing. If you know math, basic math, and you do exponentially if things grow, so it's all, that's why they always stop at 16, 32 and then they stop.
They never explain
the
further.
2, 4, 16. 16 se kitna jata hai? 64.
64, yeah.
Correct.
That's it.
So around this place is where they stop. Because if you go 4 or 5 levels further, the population of Earth ends. You know what I mean? Like that is how exponential numbers work. They just randomly will.
How is it possible?
Yeah, you can't have more than, I think you can't have more than 10 levels or something, 8 to 10 levels. That's it. And the population of the planet is over. So how the scheme works is the people who start the scheme, the funds on top, that's basically barely 1 or 2%, will make all the money and everybody else is going to be in overall loss. It's not possible.
Because it's going to be dependent on, like for them, it's dependent on how the others are doing now at this point. That's why people are convincing you कि you know हाँ तुम लोग कर लो नहीं तो और हम सबको पैसा मिलेगा types.
No, but the thing is, because it creates no value, for small countries, it wipes out GDP. Did you know that a scheme hit Sri Lanka and it almost the entire country was affected? It was a small country. So it took off a couple of % of their GDP. That is how bad it got. So much so, Sri Lanka has the most harshest laws against multi-level marketing. They're just like outright banned.
I know it's not funny, but I can't stop laughing. What the hell is this?
One whole country got scammed. I'm just saying, all of Sri Lanka, like every politician, everyone got scammed. So if you are a Sri Lankan, you have been scammed.
Oh my god. Damn.
Intense, right? So I mean, so yeah. So these still exist, and the best part is they evolve with the times. So these
No, but tell me more about QNet though. Like what did after they did the gold coin thing? See, what I remember of QNet is that they had very stock footagey videos. And they were like TED
Change your life.
Yeah, like
Change your
TED
life,
videos,
change your
but with like people talking and random people doing things, and like I support QNet. ऐसे कुछ videos थे.
Yeah, the whole point of their videos is to be a little ambiguous.
Like I never understood what it was about. Like I didn't know about this gold coin thing.
So they kept changing. They keep that's the thing. The product is immaterial. They'll keep building. Sometimes it's holiday packages. Sometimes it is gold. Sometimes it is a healthness thing. It just keeps.
So
changing.
QNet was just a company, and it had nothing attached to it.
Yeah, it's still there. By the way, they're like a freaking hydra. They don't die. That company I think is still around today. Ashish will check. I don't. Yeah, they're still around. Still fucking like it's crazy.
Ashish, you have been targeted by QNet.
No, I'm just saying these guys are still around. So multi-level marketing is. So the thing is, that's one of the weird thing is they completely exploit the psychology of people. See what happens is, especially these schemes do well in times of financial turmoil or when there's a downturn. Even the Ponzi scheme came during the Great Depression because people were more desperate to earn something.
So they were like grasping at straws, basically.
Correct. So which is even worse because desperate people who already have little money grasping at straws, so it's even more damaging.
Yeah.
So right now, because we are going through a financial recession because of the pandemic.
Yeah, that's what we decided.
Yeah, the pandemic. We are going through like an immense recession. So all of these guys are making a good solid comeback because people will literally grasp at anything. They'll be like, oh shit, my life can change. You can be free. You don't have to be dependent on that. And bro, never believe this shit. So by the way, so a lot of scams happened in the 90s in India because that's the time when our economy was opening up. Like everything was getting a lot of rules were changing and we were allowed private enterprise, make big companies. So during this time, a very unique scam happened.
Ooh.
Yeah. So if you thought emus was extreme, this one involves trees.
What are you saying?
It's
It's like
fun.
people were selling trees.
Yeah. So but hear me out. So
Why do people?
yeah. You have to listen. So this is 90s. I know, like, yeah, India will be the new this thing. They're like, you know what? Agriculture, agrotech. Like, we can do some real innovation in agriculture. So this guy, listen. So what we're gonna do is, we're gonna get into forestry. India has an amazing this thing. We're gonna grow trees, sell them for wood, and there's a huge market in the planet. So that's what we're getting into. So they started plantations where they said they're gonna grow teak. Right? So planting a teak plant. And the government said, yeah, this is a great, good thing.
Good initiative.
Good
Right.
initiative.
Yeah.
This is what it costs. And they say each plant. So here's the thing. So they would say each sapling essentially to plant costs like $5 to $10. And these guys would, so their logic was, hey man, instead of investing in money or whatever, you invest in a tree. And people are like, huh? Listen, you buy this plant, right? When it grows up 5-10 years later, it will be worth a few lakhs. Right?
Yeah, because
So-
a full-fledged peak. Yeah.
Correct. So people are like, wow. And plus, so here's the thing: you invest in this, and every month, based on like what the return will be 10 years later, I'll keep paying you interest also,
Okay.
right, on the money you're giving me to plant.
It was like a proper investment, proper
Correct.
investment scheme.
So normally it costs maybe like $5-10 to plant this thing. They would charge $400-500 for each teak plant, saying, hey, we are taking care of it, fertilizer, वगैरह जो भी है, right? So basically, if you invested say $1,000, they're saying, man, every month we will give you 5 to 10 rupees because the payback is going to be so huge. Right, based on like what's going to come, and you can do. And this was called Anubhav Plantation.
Okay.
And they were at that time it was a rage. People just
Like
went.
everyone knew about it.
Plus
whatever.
India, right? We like being connected to the ground. For us, it was a very sound idea. Or we are not investing something hypothetical, right? You planted a tree grows and a tree is worth something and something that India relates to.
Yeah.
So the Indian middle class went for it. As a matter of fact, there were so many other plantation companies that just kind of popped up. This Anubhav guy was like on newspapers, India Today.
So he
This
was
is
very popular then.
like the new face of modern India, taking it everything and all of that. Only thing was they didn't plant anything.
So they hadn't had any land to start with.
So they planted a few trees, but nothing like, no. So basically they said, you know what, we'll open factories and this wood will get processed. And
But I don't understand.
Turned into, what it essentially turned into was a full-on Ponzi scheme. So they said, we'll grow a tree. And they didn't grow a tree.
I'm actually very upset because it would have taken, like, they could have just done it, no? Like,
They could have, I don't think they could have done it. But I feel they went like, meh, the people are giving us money anyway.
yeah, and they're not even checking if we've actually planted a tree. It feels like that only, you know how someone is just irk a job thing because they're like, no one's checking anyway. So no one will come to know if I haven't cleaned this thing.
Yeah, so basically, I think what it was always a Ponzi scheme. So
So
basically,
like it wasn't supposed to be an actual
so
scheme.
the point was basically it was all based on getting more people to subscribe. So the more people would buy, and from the people who are buying in, from their money only they were paying out the interest.
Yeah.
So they were not really generating anything. So that's how they climbed. But the crazy thing is they were able to scam using a tree. In the early 90s, it was huge, man.
All you need is drive. One idea.
One idea. So you have come on Emu and Teak. Both were...
Just like a man and his dream.
yeah. You can always find something to scam people with. So you're saying, be careful out there, guys. There are people who will be happy to scam you for whatever. Yeah. But
and typical Indian mentality is that if you get scammed, you are the chutya and not like the other person who tried to scam. So.
But that's the thing, that's how most scamsters get away because most people are
Also, people are so embarrassed about saying all this. So everything I found on Quora was like anonymous people writing, "Oh, can't believe I fell for this, but this happened with me."
Yeah.
So sad.
So sad.
Yeah, but I'll tell you a half-assed scam attempt that happened with me. So I was in the US, I was studying animation, and after that I was approached by a company for a job. Okay? So that was very surprising to me because I was just like, oh, I've just graduated. How are these people knowing me already? Because that usually happens with well-known people. Ki, oh, we heard that you just finished that project, so will you be willing to come on to my project now? And I was like, very confused. So I looked up and it came from a Gmail account. एक तो that email नहीं होता है ये, ठीक है. So then after that, and the pay was like $55 an hour or something. And I was like, absolutely not. People in Nickelodeon are getting paid $14 an hour. There is no way that an entry level job is getting 55. I was like, maybe they just thought I was someone else. That is the benefit of doubt I gave them. And then I looked their company up. It's a legit company. ठीक है, Luma Pictures करके. VFX company है, full on, like बड़ा. I was like, चल ठीक है, I will see what happens. So I went ahead with it. I was like, hi, yes, I'm interested. Then he was like, will you be available for an interview? I was like, oh, this is more direct than I thought they would be because I thought they would not want to show themselves or whatever. So why would they ask for an interview? So I said, okay. And the interview was a Google Talk chat.
What? A chat interview?
Which we could have had on email.
Yeah. Hello, how are you? I'm good.
So he asked me a few legit questions like what is your process, like what do you think about this, what do you think? So I felt, oh, this feels pretty legit, like asking legit questions. And then I was waiting, when is this person going to come to the point? And then at some point he was like, okay, so for what you have to do, we are going to give you a MacBook and we are going to give you these softwares. And in that software he had also mentioned Toon Boom, Harmony. And then I realized that he copy pasted those softwares from my resume. And I was like, okay. And because why would a visual effects job require Toon Boom Harmony, which is a 2D animation software?
Correct.
Right? So I was like, I was right. That in that moment, I was like, I was right. And then he was like, for this, so that we can give you all this, and so you just have to pay for shipping. And he quoted some $3,000 or something. And I have to pay them so that I get this job.
No job asks you to pay for a job, by the way. So.
And I was like, cool and all, but I just got another job offer, so thanks. And then I wrote him a long text. Next time you want to scam someone, these are the following things you should do.
What
Right.
you sent feedback form?
I sent him a feedback. Ki, dude, this is very badly done. I knew from the get-go that this was a scam. Nahi hoga ye. I was like, firstly, do some research, invest in a domain name, and you can name your studio anything, toonstudios.com, ऐसे कुछ तो domain name ले, ठीक है? And dude, art theft is so common nowadays.
Correct.
In comparison to the scam he was trying to pull, art theft is so tiny. Right? I was like, download some images and pictures from somewhere and put on your website कि ये हमने बनाया है. Who is going to come to know? Who's going to cross check?
So
right?
if you're looking for a scam consultant, please talk to Soumya. She'll help you out, clean up your this thing, write your story, ensure
I actually have more on that, which I think will be very helpful. So apart from that, चल ठीक है, get somebody, like actually check out कि ये interviews कैसे होते हैं, and honestly it could work on some tiny human, So I was just like, I didn't tell him that, ki, it could work. I was like, Harry, dude, get a domain or something at least, I knew from the get-go ki this is not legit.
Yeah.
And the dude stopped responding and everything. And I was like, it would have been really funny if he was actually like, damn it. I thought I had you.
Wow. But it's funny though, if you respond like, thank you for your feedback. It's people like you who help us
Who keep us going.
who take us to the next level.
No, but I immediately put that thing out as a PSA on like my animation group of like my college. And immediately comments are coming ki as soon as I read this, I feel like I got that email.
Wow.
I was like, he didn't take any of my feedback. He didn't give it some time. He didn't put in a week of effort.
Wow, you're upset,
I
man.
was upset. This is what happens when you meet people who can't take critique. You fuck up again.
And you suck.
Damn.
Anyway, cool, man. I think that's I think we have kind of run our time. We still have to run those scams. We might actually do another episode of more scams.
Yeah.
Because there's so much, man. This country is crazy. We have some lot of fun scams. Crazy shit happens around here.
For sure.
And this was our episode of Padaku Panda talking about scams and other stuff. If you have faced any scam, please put down a comment and let us know what kind of scam it was.
We'll definitely read it because we are super interested.
Also, if you have made it this part of the podcast, you are now privy to some new, unique information which the other losers don't get. So here's the thing. Whatever you comment, say, you can just put the comment says Anurag says, and I will say that in the next podcast. Also, if you say Anurag does, I will do that in the next podcast. So
It's like an intense truth or dare.
Yeah, intense truth or dare. Like, comment a truth and dare, and I will do it for you, for those people who made it this far. Everybody else is just, riffraff. I only care about you guys. So much so, I put myself on the line.
Nice.
Because I'm that cheap.
And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, we are Padaku Panda there, and subscribe, hit the bell icon.
Actually, subscribe. That's pretty much it. I don't care about the rest. Be the OGs. Stay here.